Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us in this focus on ARV, Learn by Doing. And today we're going to be focusing on retrocausality, very, very important part of precognition, in fact, essential part of precognition, and GARV, group ARV. So let's begin. Here's our outline. I'll take about a half an hour to take a look at retrocausality and GARV in some detail, and then we'll do it. I've left about an hour and a half. I don't know if it'll take that long, but we are going to do a GARV prediction, which involves you doing your RV prediction. Then I actually then take all the RV predictions and I'll tell you a little bit about how I do my analysis to come up with a prediction. And then you do a positive feedback session, which is critical. And of course, you do that after the game. The game is on Saturday. So you'll do your RV prediction today, and then the game will be on Saturday. After the game, I will send you a link which will give you the target photo site. And then you do your positive feedback session with it. So that's really a summary of, of GARV and what we're going to be doing today. Now, before these AI bots were around, I would now tell you about retrocausality in my words, but much to my pleasant surprise, they are doing a pretty good job. Microsoft's called Copilot, they call it the AI companion, and it's right there if you use Microsoft Edge. Anyway, I asked it about retrocausality, and it says retrocausality, also known as backward causation, beautiful, is a fascinating concept in which an effect precedes its cause in time. And that's exactly right. Many scientists will tell you that's impossible, but indeed it's not. Essentially, it means that the future can influence the present, and even the present can influence the past. We're interested in the future influencing the present. In the realm of quantum mechanics, and all of this psi stuff really comes from quantum mechanics, the distinction between cause and effect isn't strictly defined at the most fundamental level. This allows for time symmetric systems that can be viewed as either causal or retrocausal. So all that talk leads to imagine events unfolding in a way where the outcome somehow reaches back to shape the initial conditions. That's retrocausality. Because you'll be doing your remote viewing session, getting information from your positive feedback session. Now, I asked Gemini, which used to be called Bard from Google, I actually asked it about retrocausality and spirituality. And it gave me a pretty good answer. Interconnectedness. Some spiritual beliefs emphasize the interconnectedness of all things, past, present, and future. This aligns with the idea of retrocausality, where future events could influence the past, suggesting a nonlinear flow of time and energy. Intuition and precognition. Many spiritual practices explore intuition and premonition. Retro-causality could offer a potential explanation for these phenomena, suggesting that future events might influence our present subconscious, leading to intuitive feelings or precognitive glimpses. So I highlighted in light blue, the rest are AI bots, and I think they did a pretty good job in defining and give the flavor of what retro-causality is all about. Future somehow influencing the past, gathering information, if you will, from the future. Okay, now I went to one of the picture bots, and I thought this, and I really got not very much until this came up, and I thought this one was pretty good. You have a wizard looking forward, a wizard looking back, and I think the wizard looking forward in time, at the same time, the wizard looking backwards in time. And that makes a key point. The entanglement between the future and past, the connection, is somehow outside of time. We do it in linear time, but the time where in the future is entangled, is coupled with the time and the past. So this would be our remote viewing session. This is the feedback session, and the two are coupled. We do them in linear time, but in fact, the coupling is like outside of time. These words get very hard, and yet we just do it and it works. Okay, so now GARV is designed to improve your RVing. I want to spend a moment and talk a little bit about how you can know that. Many of you have heard of and have used TARG's confidence ranking system. It's a system which he did way back at SRI, probably in the 1970s, and it's all words, but it explains how you might rank your target, the target that you get after the outcome is known with your transcript. So you've got your transcript in front of you, you've got your target in front of you, and no correspondence, little correspondence, 0, 1. 2 is suggesting there's nothing even beyond chance. You know, you might get a match or two, but certainly nothing. 3, you begin to see, you know what, maybe there's some correct and incorrect elements, but enough of the former to indicate the viewer has made some contact with the target. There's, you know, something there that suggests to you it's more than random. But, you know, that's not strong. A 4 is now getting strong. Good correspondence with several matchable elements intermixed with some incorrect information. As you go up here, you're getting less and less incorrect information, but there seems to always be some. We've taken 3.5 in the past to be wagerable when we're doing wagering. As you'll see in GARV, the individuals do not wager, but the group manager does wager. So a 4 is good, and a 5 is just getting better. Unambiguous, unique, matchable elements, some incorrect information. 6 is even better, good correspondence, and 7 is like spot on, you name it. Okay, so that gives you a sense of 0 to 7. Now, we're doing things with HAG, which stands for harsh analysis and gestalts. And this starts with what Targ did with the 0 to 7. But Joe McMonagle, in a very forceful way, um, um, during some of our workshops in Vegas, felt it was important, and he always does this, to add the concept of gestalts being worth half of the analysis. And so we've put that in an analytical way I'm going to show you in a minute. And then Tom McNear added this concept of harsh. And he's such a nice guy, and he did add it in a nice way. So when you're doing your analysis, he says you should be relatively harsh in it. Okay, so the idea of a fig, which is what the Gestalt idea is what Joe McMonagle added, and we're using him in the following way. It's mostly first impression gestalts. And what are those? Well, things like water. You know, if you take a quick look and you see water, first impression gestalt. Is it land? The shape of the land, space, air, motion, energy, man-made structure, natural vegetation. These are the kinds of things which are first impression gestalts. Sometimes there's a dominating color. These would be the major aspects of the target. And after that, and in your transcript, you'll get more details than that, but it's the first impression gestalts that should count for like 50%. And there may be other things that come up. Okay, now we're going to do one. I've told you enough, and I want you to experience doing one right now. So on a piece of paper, get a blank sheet of paper, put your name on the right corner. And this is sort of typical of people who are trainers or do this universally. Put your name on the right corner, put the name of the group you're involved in. Here it's a webinar workshop. Put the date and time, March 6th, and the time wherever you are. In California, it's 12:15. On the top left, put the coordinate of this target. It's called a coordinate. Sometimes it's called target reference number. Kind of like that because that's what this is. This refers to one and only one target. So put that on the top left. And then when you start your session, you're actually going to repeat it and go. And that'll be totally not intellect, not intellect. You'll get information from your subconscious. Okay, so let's do it. Clear your mind, relax, be joyful. What I'm doing now is a very short cool down with you. Set an intention to describe and or sketch your 372431 target. Put aside your intellect, your ego. Let's take a few deep breaths. Write the coordinate again and generate your transcript. Info from the subconscious. I will give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Counting down.
Time left.
There's a 5-minute timer with 53 seconds remaining.
One-minute warning. Okay, the 5 minutes is up. On the bottom of your transcript, write end or EOS. And that finishes this RV session. Okay, what I'm going to do now to give you the idea of what figs might be, I'm going to actually flash the target. Okay, so get ready, look at your screen. Okay, in the chat box, put what you got from that in terms of the big picture. Put some of the words that you got. So I'd like to see what you got. And most will probably, well, okay, so in the chat box, what did you get from that flash? Very good. Others of you? Good. So as much as a waterfall, that's rocks planting. Very good. Simona? Water, land, power, falling. Anyone else want to put something? Orange, white, you saw color. That's great. Structure, you saw structure over water. Color, yellow, fluid, water, open, peaceful, bright, happy, soft to touch, blue water. Okay. I think you all put something there. Kelly saw some green. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Now let's look at it again. And you can see you all picked up different parts of the big picture. Now, there are also some subtleties there that you might have gotten in your transcript. Things like, look how rough the brown is, the heavy wall. Some of you may or may not have gotten the green. You might have gotten the brown. In your transcript, you might have picked up part of this. You might not have even picked up the water, but there it is. Okay, so we're looking at this now, and we went over the gestalts, and I think you picked up some of them. Some of them may be different people sometimes would say different things or gestalts, but I think you picked them all up. The only one you didn't pick up that someone might have picked up was sky. Sky is is a nice gestalt. Now, on your transcript, the one you just did, mark all the matches of the words and sketches, and the fig matches mark separately. I like put a dash next to all the matches, but then with the figs, I might put an X or circle them, or I'll do something different to point out the figs, because they will count more in terms of our TARG CR scale. So go ahead, do that now. So you've got your transcript and you're marking it up, each of you. And already you begin to get a feeling of how well you did. You know, did you go off someplace else? You know, did you go off to something you did yesterday? Obviously, that's not what you want to do. You wanted to go to what's going to be and what is this feedback target. And now you're beginning to work it. The first step is what you're doing now. Mark everything that's on there. And note things you could have gotten. Did you get rough? Did you get sharp? Look at all the sharp pieces of the rock formation there. Did you get water? You can take your hand and actually put it in the water and feel it. I mean, I want you to really work this target. Feel the water. And put your hand under the waterfall and feel the action. There certainly is energy there. You might get streaks. Look at the clouds. There's streaks there. You might have gotten that. I'm going to have you do another one later. And these are things that you can put in your positive feedback session. This has so much detail, and you should know some don't. Some are very simple, and then you would pick that up. If they were simple, and this one is loaded with structure, with details that you can match. Okay, and roughly what fraction of figs did you get in your transcript? And, you know, this is not as easy as it looks, because we counted all kinds of figs, like the colors, green and brown. And from your perspective, that may or may not be a fig. This is all for you. You know, looking at it now, would green be a fig? Would sky be a fig? But in any case, how many of the figs between 0 and 1 do you think you got? Write that down on your transcript. And then this is another important part of GARV. What fraction of matches, counting the figs, each fig you marked, right? Well, you marked everything else too. So in terms of what you marked, count that number. How many things did you mark on your transcript? So count that. And then put that on your thing, and then divide it by the total number of elements on your transcript. So some people get lots of stuff, but not all of it is relevant. If 50% of it is relevant, you know, okay, that's pretty good. 80% is very good. Did you only get information on your transcript that's relevant to this target? So the guys who have worked um, RV, CRV, different forms of it always say those are the two aspects, the Gestalt aspects, which tend to come out early and first, but not always, but the big picture, and then what fraction of what you wrote on your transcript did you get right? Okay, so put that on your transcript. We're going to use it in a moment. Here, okay, you've seen Targ's words. I'm now going to give you an equation. And as long as you're not, don't have a math anxiety, it's a simple equation. Notice I asked you to come up with a 0 to 1 figure for the fig. And so the CR, and we've tested this with people, how well does it match what others have done just using Targ straight? You take your 0 to 1 of fig, and then you add that number of matching elements divided by total elements. So the fig is 0 to 1. The number of matching elements is 0 to 1. So inside this little parentheses is a number between 0 and 2. You multiply that by 3.5, and you'll get a number up to 7, from 0 to 7. Okay, so you can do that now. If you even find that hard to do, using a simple calculator, then just go back and remember the 0 to 7 Targ approach. And I'd like each of you to give yourself a 0 to 7 on this very simple example. I wouldn't say it, I take back the word simple. It's a very good example of a RV target.
Hey Marty, what is an example of an element and how is that different from a fig?
Well, the fig is a special kind of element. So the fig is an element, but it's the big picture, a big picture element, like water, like rock, like heavy. Those are words. In fact, if you said water, it's an element, but you mark it as a fig. Is that clear? So all of these are elements. Anything on your transcript is an element, including sketches. Those are all elements. Words are elements. Sketches are elements. Only some of those are figs. If you had drawn a sketch of this waterfall, forget that it's water. When I look at this quickly, I saw something in the middle white, and it was long and vertical. Okay, so if you put a sketch of that, you would mark that, but that also could be part of a fig. So,
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
okay, yeah. So anything on your transcript is an element, only some of them are figs. Like rough. Rough, I don't know, wouldn't generally be a fig, but it's certainly something that you had on your transcript you'd mark as correct. You might have on your thing something like, I don't know, a different color. Yeah, looking at these, I can't think of a different color, but you could have a different color. That'd be an element, but it wouldn't be marked. Okay. So, you have now gone through part of this positive feedback protocol. Positive PFB, PFB, PFB. This is essential. I'm highlighting it. I cannot highlight it anymore. If you don't do a positive feedback, you didn't do GARV. Now, let me show you what the positive feedback is. You mark your matches, you note the figs on your transcript. You've done that. On a new sheet of paper, you haven't done that yet. And I want you, you're going to do that right after I describe this. You do the RV session, and now it's front loaded. Yes, you've looked at your target, but it's front loaded. So things like rough, if you didn't put that on the session you wish you had done, you would have done that. You put the correct colors. You put things which you wish you had done, but in an RV session, you don't sketch it. You do an RV session where you capture this stuff. And always write PFB on your transcript. You're going to be saving all this stuff, hopefully, and keeping your CRs, which you're going to use to watch how you get better and better. So on this new sketch, you're going to do like a new simple sketch of this. If you miss something, did you get that white center thing, which turned out to be water? Did you get the shape of the major rock mountain, whatever it is? Um, you want to have that. And then what about the sounds? Did you hear the waterfall? See, during the positive feedback session, you'll be able to hear the waterfall. Did you touch the roughness? Did you put your hand in the water to get water? What were the smells, taste, feeling, emotions? And you can do these actually relatively quickly, knowing that this is an important part of your positive feedback. Okay, and then of course add new words or phrases if you missed some. And as you're doing this, consciously enjoy this, the matches. And when you do your new session, oh, look at that. I could have gotten that. Next time I'll get that. And what you're doing here should be a joyful experience. So I always suggest you add joy, love. Okay, so let's do it. Do your positive feedback session now. That then will finish this example. So right now, do it. Get a new sheet of paper out and do your positive feedback session. Remember, don't do super fine details, but capture the essence of the photograph, of the photo site. We use the word photo site because you can get the sounds, the tastes, if there were tastes, the touches, the roughness, the water feeling. Now, you did some of it already when you marked the matches and noted the fig. When you're done, why don't you put that in the chat box? And this takes as long as it takes. This is very important because what you're doing now is getting the information which you're going to share with your remote viewing session. You can see how just capturing something like a shape here, vertical here, rough, brown, green, something about the pool. Okay, when you're done, please mark it in the chat box. Just say done. Simona, did you do a session, a positive feedback session? I don't want to rush you, but I just want to make sure
Yes,
that, okay. And is it
it's just the picture or
whatever you
also
did you do more?
I'm still working on um, the rest, not only the picture.
You're doing the words. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to let you do that, but just because of time, I'd like you all now to share, no matter how high or how low it is, share your CRs. Let's see how well with this first simple example. Don't be afraid. Nobody will really, in the regular ones, nobody will see this. But I would like to see it now. I would just like to see for my own benefit how this example worked. And that you were able to calculate a CR. So tell me, if you didn't calculate it, that's fine. Just let me know. And if you don't want to share, that's okay too. Just say not so good. However, but I would like, okay, good. Thank you, Kelly. $3.5, great. That would have been way, okay, excellent. So all of yours, you did a 3 out of 11. So you had like 11 possible figs, Ron? You're showing 3 out of the 8 out of 11 would be you had 8 marked and you had 11 total. 3 out of 11, I don't understand. How many possible figs were there? I want to make sure you understand the equation. That's why I'm asking, Ron. The first fig one should be a number between 0 and 1, straight up. In other words, what fraction of the figs did you get? And that would make sense if everything were a fig. Okay, well, that first number should be there. First reading 0.31, 4.2. Very good, Nina. You had 4 figs, several elements, no wrong ones. So you got a 1 for the second term with 4 figs. Maybe in this one there were 5 or 6 figs. So you could have just put maybe a 0.8 or a 0.9 plus 1 times 3.5. So you would have gotten a 6 or something like that, Richard. Because if you got 4 figs, I mean, there weren't that many more there. And, you know, you might not have counted some as a fig. So I think you could have easily made your fig a 0.9. And if everything you put down was right, then it would have been like a 0.8 plus 1 times 3.5 would have probably got you up to a 6. Simona, very good. 5.7. What did you mark your figs as?
0.9.
Yeah, okay. Very good. So you all, even the 2.5, the fact that you did it, Kelly, don't be upset. but you all did very well. And thank you for doing that. I think this says this was an okay exercise. Okay, very good. Any other questions, comments? You think you learned something from that exercise? How to do positive feedback? You don't have you don't have to answer. It's kind of a rhetorical question. Here, by the way, just to show you how it worked in January and February, these are the stats. Let's do them in order. In January, we did 14 taskings that were not passes. I just don't count passes. And there were 11 hits and 3 misses, and that led to a 79% hit rate. In February, there were 12 hits, 2 misses. That's an 86% hit rate. And that's what you expect more than the individuals, because with multiple people, I'm looking for some, like if all of you had put this in, I would have looked at the high ones and gone in that direction if there was a direction. And so you can see how well this is working, and notice it got better between January and February. I really believe we have come up with a technique here to really improve your remote viewing sessions. Period. And so I hope you will join us and do this, and you can do this in every single one of the financial groups. So, and the one you're about to do, why does GARV work so well? It's all about minimal stress for viewers and group manager. Notice there's no money involved for viewers. I will not give the viewers the predictions. It's been my experience after doing this for many, many, many years that the money adds stress. And part of that stress comes because the viewers generally see 2 possible photo sites, and they're saying, which one should I potentially wager on? And so whether they know it or not, there's a money issue which causes stress. And by not showing the 2 photo sites and by not allowing them to bet money, they just do it to learn about their subconscious. How does their consciousness work? How much can they pick up from targets? Okay. And then the group manager, who also could add stress, everybody involved is involved from the beginning to the end, right? There's no time. It's all outside of time. I need to wager a minimal amount of money just so I can get the outcome. There are 2 possible photo sites. This is still ARV in the normal sense, binary ARV, but the GARV just makes the remote viewing sessions better, but I still need an outcome. So I'm wagering minimal money so I get an outcome. And so the viewers don't get a prediction and therefore cannot wager. Now that's turned some people off. Some people are no longer doing this, and that's fine. The only people who should be doing this, who are more interested in learning about their own consciousness and how to get better and better at remote viewing. And fun and learning. So that's what I mean. Consciousness is fundamental. The feedback protocol, especially the positive feedback session, is always fun. You know, you get to see what you got. You also get to see what you didn't get, and that's where the learning comes in. And you're learning about your consciousness. Okay. And there's always more to learn. You can always get better and better. Joe McMonagle says that. That's why he's now retired, but he used to do 6 remote viewing sessions a week. So I want to go into just a little bit more, and I guess this is the physicist part of me, but to show you how deep this goes and give you a feeling of what you're involved with when you do this, and as you learn about your consciousness. In linear time, you're doing the remote viewing session, okay? But the precognition and the retrocausality really begins with the positive feedback session. So here's the feedback session. Here's where you also are describing and sketching your feedback target, okay? And then you're not doing this anymore, but I do judging in between. Now, what's really happening is from here, your subconscious is getting this information and going back and forth with it, and it shares that with the remote viewing session. That's the retrocausality. And the handshake was actually done by a physicist. He used that term, and I really like it because that's what it is. That's entanglement. And this entanglement energy is enhanced with intention. So I always play up intention. Expectation, as you get better and better at this, you will feel better and better with it. And joyful emotions. You want to bring in love and joy in this. And then on the bottom of all this is the universe of collective consciousness. That's just what I called it, because I really think that's a good word for it, rather than matrix, which Ingo Swann used. People have always used different words for this, the spiritual knowing, all that is. But down here is the non-physical spiritual that knows past, present, and future. And that's what you're connecting with here, which makes the entanglement energy, which gives it back to the remote viewing. This is the deepest sense of how I understand GARV. Now, GARV involves a bunch of events which are focused. In your life, you have lots of events. This circle is the universe of collective consciousness, which I mentioned. It contains everything, past, present, and future. So all events, all of these circles are events. Events are just collections of nows. You know, you go to that NBA game and you're getting ready to go, and you watch it, the game ends. All of that is part of the events of that NBA. Okay. But fortunately, you wouldn't want to have all that in your consciousness. You can ignore events and you can begin to focus. And that's what you do with GARV. You can ignore some events, but you can increase entanglement with events. For example, one GARV event is you doing your remote viewing session. Another event, which is in the UCC, is you doing your positive feedback. And those get entangled. And what you do with your positive feedback is you create a handshake with these two and you enhance the retrocausal entanglement. Okay. 0-point energy. That's in everything, in every molecule. Sometimes it's called vacuum energy because it's in vacuum space. I'm bringing that up because it is the connection between the non-physical, spiritual, and the physical. I mean, there really is a field which is generated moment to moment, and it's at the very, very small level, you know, at 10 to the minus 35 meters, which is unimaginably small. and it generates everything that's going on. This is the quantum mechanical field, which is coming from the physical. And I believe subtle energy, which is what we're using here, is right here at the beginning of the 0 point energy field, at the interface with the spiritual. Okay. Intention is the key for self-healing and for garving, if you will. You need to have a very clear intention. And then this subtle energy, which is coming up from the 0 point energy field. And all of this, of course, you're not thinking about. This is happening automatically once you set your intention and the spirituality part of you goes to work. And these are streams of grace. The subtle energy is giving you streams of grace and giving you information about your remote viewing target. Okay, are there any questions up to now? We did it. I then got into a little bit of physics just to show you how deep this goes. In many ways, you certainly don't need to understand that, but you might even want to go in and learn more about it or not. You don't need any of that, but I think it helps when you do your remote viewing sessions to know how deep this goes. It goes as deep into the spirituality part of you and the universal collective consciousness that contains everything, and then you focusing on the correct information. You know, how else did you guys do so well? Some of you, I mean, right? That's by most people considered to be impossible. If no questions, let's do the prediction for the Bulls versus Clippers game. No questions? Okay. So what we're doing is an over-under outcome. There will be two possible targets that I will put together. One will be for over, one is for under. And the over-under baseline is done by the guys who do very, very good predictions of this, the gamesters, the people who set the odds. And over under will be the total points between the Bulls plus the Clippers. So at the end of this game, it'll be 90 points. It'll be 100 points. The gamesters will predict that number. What we're predicting is over under that number. And that's something which you can wager on virtually every single game. Okay, so we're getting ready to do this. What do? We describe and sketch your feedback photo site. I will do the analysis judging of all of that to make an over-under prediction. This will be compared to the bookmaker's prediction. And then you will do your positive feedback. So your part is just what we did here. You do your remote viewing session, you do your positive feedback session. And this indeed is the key step. Okay, so we're getting ready to do it. There will not be too much more. Are there any of you who are newbies who are not in our webinar workshop group? I know Nina, are you in our webinar workshop group?
I think so. I do get your emails.
Okay, so you're doing something in ARV. So you're in some of our ARV groups. So you can start doing ARV now, right? But you may not be in this group. Let's find out. It's easy enough to find out. I'm going to add you. Give me your put your email
Yep.
in the chat box. And I think I know everybody else. Okay, so we'll just put you in here and it'll tell us very quickly. Okay, directly add member. If not, you'll get this. You're in. Okay, it looks like you'll be new now. You may or
Sounds
may
good.
not show up, but usually if you're not, it'll say, yeah, there you are. Okay, so that means I sent to everybody beforehand or early because the tasking, so you'll get the taskings in advance. And I do these the first Wednesday of a month, so. Okay. So this now is the tasking that went out. Notice it's the NBA over under for Chicago Bulls. And I'll give this to you, Nina, so you'll be able to do it just like everybody else. And well,
Marty, I don't think I'm in it either.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Marty,
Yeah.
it's Richard. I don't think I'm in the group either for the webinar.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and give me your email. Go ahead, Richard, give me your email. Okay, let's just see if you come up. Yep. Okay, very good. So now you're both in. And Richard, I've gotten some GARV from you. I've never gotten a GARV from you, Nina. Are you definitely in one or more of our GARV groups?
So I joined on the APP site and I haven't done a GARV before. I get emails from the APP discussions, and I also get emails from the GARVE APP group. But I haven't done a session with y'all before.
GARV. No, you say you're getting it. So you're not in Pegasus or are you a full member or a free
I'm
member?
a free member.
Okay, so we'll put you in one group and you will, I'm making a note to do that. Okay. And okay, so you'll be in one group. Full members can be in the 5 groups, so they can do one a day. Okay, so. Oh, and let me. So then, as always, and this will be the same when you get put into your GARV group, you'll be able to just click on the link and then you put your name. What will come up is this. It's really very easy. Yeah, I know, Richard, you've done this already, so Nina, you haven't, but you'll put your name in here. Twice. People are sometimes not getting, here the group is highlighted. And this is what I want you to have now. So I'm putting this in the chat box. So if you click that, you'll get, well, actually, I'm going to put in test for this. Turns out it's a little different for me because I get both of the targets. There you go. So if you put that in, and if you get anything else, let me know, you will see this page. And the key thing on this page is the coordinate or the TRN. And that's the one for this NBA game we're doing. Okay, so it's for the webinar workshop. It reminds you don't have to read all this, you know, after you've read it a few times, it says you're not getting the two possible targets.
Could it be the same target number?
No, everybody has a different target number,
Perfect.
right? So you just did yours and you've got your own target number.
Yep.
Okay, good. So once we do that, once you do that, you've got your target number. We're ready to go. On a sheet of paper, put your name, date, time, group. I didn't specifically talk about AOLs, but those are more important than people recognize because this is where you get the feeling your analytical mind, that's what the A is, analytical overlays. Your analytical mind is trying to help. It's trying to help you. It's seeing information and it's from the thinking part of you, it's giving you some words. They feel different than what's coming from your subconscious, which comes in here. You know, brown round. Must be a basketball. A lot of brown round things. Pumpkins are almost brown. Anyway, there are a lot of brown round things it could be. AOLs are analytical. So you put them over here and they do feel different. And that's very important because if you learn, and that's the reason, one of the reasons to learn and do what we're doing with the positive feedback and learn about all of this is so you can begin to pick up when stuff is coming from your subconscious rather than your thinking mind. Much more important to get things from your subconscious. Okay, so let's get ready to do it. Drop your intellect, drop your ego. You're going to be using your intuition. So this is a very brief cool down. Breathe, relax, smile, be positive. This cool down is very important to Joe McMonagle. Silent prayer to all-knowing God. Another part of our cool down is we're going to be doing a 4-minute meditation from Stephen Wright. He'll get you deep. And then we do 7 minutes with Sam, which comes from the Monroe Institute. Set your intention again to entangle, to connect with your positive feedback session. Set that now. Pay attention to your subconscious during all of this. Ego's job is just to get stuff on the transcript. And I'll tell you when there's 1 minute left. So let's begin.
So let us take some words into meditation, repeated simple phrases. First of all, just allow yourself to repeat. Do not be afraid. Imagine that is being said to you by your wise teacher that you acknowledge, Jesus, your Buddha nature, the Prophet, Allah, the universe, nature. But somewhere echoing around the universe is that deep-seated voice that says, don't be afraid. And perhaps as we touch into that phrase of don't be afraid, we recognize that as human beings, we exist on many planes of existence, from our mortal frame, our minds and bodies, to an aspect of our being that is immortal, the soul, our essence. Each of us, during our lives, may touch into that truth. It may sometimes seem far away, sometimes may seem close. Some of us may live it moment by moment, recognizing that we are not just who we think we are. We're not our roles, our identities. So be open now, deep in our consciousness, deep in the unconscious. Allow ourselves to say quite simply, I am. Breathe in the word, I. Breathe out the word, am. Just sit for a moment, breathing, I am. Encouraging the sense of simply being. No need for an addition that I am this, or I am that, or I'm experiencing this. But I am open to, receptive to the deepest, very core of our being. This I amness has been said throughout time in all traditions. It is eternal. It is immortal. We open ourselves, are receptive to our essential nature, which does not know death. The we who we think we are may pass away, the world may pass away, but it is only one plane of consciousness. Deep in the very core of our being is the immortal I amness, which all beings, all life, all creation possesses. And as we touch into that essential I amness, as we breathe in the word I, breathe out the word am. We remember that those are the very words when asked, who are you of the divine? That is exactly what the divine says. I am. And we say, I am. And all beings say, I am. The whole universe is saying, I am.
From this deep place, describe and sketch your GARV target. Six minutes.
6 minutes. Counting down.
1 minute to go. If you want longer, feel free. The viewer is in charge. Okay. Come on back to a normal state. Perhaps stretch a little. And okay, so now you're at the point where we must wait for the outcome before you can do your positive feedback. Ooh, I don't know who left, but what you have to do now is send me your transcripts, so I can do the judging. Oh, Nina. Okay. Okay, I'll ask her, the rest of you, and I'll email her about doing a transcript when I put her in the new group. So, after you do your session, you simply send it to me, and then you're done with your RV session. So do that now. Email them to me. I think you all know my email address. Well, I know you do, but I'll just make it a little easier. Okay. Okay, so I've got Richards. I don't know. I don't know what person you're talking about, Richard. Oh, yeah, him. Yes, I knew him well. He was very active with us, Igor. And um, he'll eventually get back to you, so I don't know why he hasn't. Okay, the rest of you, please send me your transcripts. And then after the game, I will send you the link and you'll do your positive feedback. In time, well, give him a little bit more time. And then, oh, this is Darren. Darren, give him a little more time. Oh, you're not here. You're just, okay. This might interest you too while you're sending the stuff to me. Once you get really good at this, if you do want to do it for wagering, you can't do it with me because I will no longer be involved with the money part, but there are other people who have ARV systems. You can use that and then wager on your own. And that's what Darren was asking about, and this is the fellow that does it. So if you do want to get involved in that, let me know. Okay, so Richard sent me his. I know Jane didn't do it, so it's just Simona. So and then okay, good. Thanks, Simona. And now let's just finish this off. You know, I had something here and I'm presenting it. And it's a list of possible words that for all the different categories. And I just don't know how useful it is. Most of us know the words, but if you want that list, ask me for it. Okay. So there it is. You could use this to come up with other words, but I'm marginal on this. Let's finish this off with going deep again. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are spiritual beings all the time. Our souls are with us all the time. And not to say anything negative about our intellect, that's beautiful and wonderful, part of us. And that's what we use to get day to day. But let's not forget that our souls are with us, and intuition could come at any time from our souls, giving us information from our deep spiritual self. So here's a summary about doing RV and GARV better and better. Again, you focus on your positive feedback session. Let your intuition guide your remote viewing session. Do every weekday. These two meditations are on the page where you get your coordinate, so use them. I recommend using them just as we did. The Stephen Wright one is a 4-minute one. It's like a cool down, get you deep, and then use Sam for as long as you like. And then this is my normal close. Love, wisdom, beauty, joy. The end of all wisdom is love, love, love. Keep love with you as much as you can. Use it here as you do positive feedback, as you do your remote viewing sessions. When you do pass over to the pure spiritual and look back at this life, I think you'll feel better with the more joy and love that you have. That's the end of my presentation. You have any questions, comments? Richard, you feel comfortable with this? Okay, good. Then I think we are done, and I will put this on our website as soon as it gets recorded, but now I will end it for everybody. And thank you for joining me.